Planeswalker action, so that means some Kioras are hanging out here, 3 of those. So the win condition, he doesn't need any creatures. He can kill you with Kiora and its ultimate, can kill you with Elspeth, can kill you with Elixir, which sounds ridiculous, but can do that. And then there's 2 copies of Mutavault as well.
Remember, the reason creatures were printed was so that they could either be ignored or killed.
I think I disagree with you. The reasons creatures were printed were to attack the opponent.
Removal spells would be no fun if there weren't creatures, which is why they had to print creatures.
You're right about that. Do you think creatures came first or removal spells came first?
Well, the enjoyment is killing them, right?
No, the enjoyment
that's the fun part of killing your opponent's creatures. Like, well, it's not fun if there's nothing to kill.
The enjoyment is killing you with them. That's what I get.
That's way less fun. I'd rather kill. That's, I don't know.
You are the spikiest control player I've ever met, and combo too. A couple of temples to start here. You leave my creatures alone. See what Tom has on turn 2. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a Burning Emissary draw, since he had no turn 1 play. He's got a lot of those in his deck.
Yeah, we see starting off with the Burning Emissary, and the mana doesn't do anything, so it is Grizzly Bears.
Wow. Yuck. His hand must not be very good. Here's a breeding pool. Pass the turn back, will Glenn.
A ton of Planeswalkers in Glenn's deck. He has a full 9. Not playing the Caryatid version, but he has 3 Kiora, 4 Jace, 2 Elspeth.
So just a breeding pool tap, 2 mana available here for Ross. So he's got to worry about a couple of cards. You know, this is the Azorius Charm last breath area of the game that Tom has to be a little bit concerned about. He did pick up a Mutavault. He's going to play that, and now he's going to follow this up with a Burning Tree Emissary. See if this is going to resolve.
And if you watch Tom play, I love how patient he is with his aggro decks. A lot of red aggro players, you know, untap and smash in. I like how he's a red player, and the first thing he does is he draws a card, and then just kind of very calmly thinks for about 10 seconds, then decides a line and just quickly executes it.
You know, Tom specializes in basically just playing aggressive decks. You know, he's the one who designed the Naya deck that Luis Scott Vargas went 16-0 with at Pro Tour San Diego back in the day. Tom has made the top 8 of Pro Tour with a Naya deck of his own. He was playing Zoo for a very, very long time in Extended. He loves to attack.
Yeah, we saw there the tribute was paid so that Fnatic could not have haste. That certainly seems telling of what could be a supreme verdict here.
I don't think we'd be surprised if that's what shows up, and that's exactly what it is. So a little 3-for-1 action.
Yeah, it looks like Tom there was worried about supreme verdict and just opted that he couldn't really play around it, so he better play into it.
You know, Tom Straw looks like he's pretty land heavy here. He does have a Rampager in his hand. He's got a couple of lands. He also has another copy of Fnatic of Xenagos, so that Mutavault's going to have to work overtime. He's just going to drop down Gorkline Rampager and just pass the turn back. Yeah,
and this game is going to go poorly for him. You see a Detention Sphere and a Kiora in Marcus's hand. That Kiora will be, he will be very effective at keeping these 1 creature draws at bay.
And there is the Crashing Wave. So Marcus Glenn going to reach for a die. Probably going to tick that up, take care of the Rampager, is what he'll do. He's going to play a Hallowed Fountain tapped and pass the turn back over to Ross, who is sitting at 5-0, as is Glenn. So both these players having a great tournament. You see a Legion Loyalist, I believe, the draw here for Tom.
Yep, so you see that plus ability on Kiora being used there. It can still attack, but all the damage is going to be prevented.
Haste really important here. And the combination of Legion Loyalist and Mutavault be able to take down the Kiora. So just a momentary speed bump in this game as Ross is going to pass the turn back, still sitting with that copy of Fnatic of Xenagos in his hand.
Yeah, and that is one of the things about Kiora that is exploitable, is that Kiora is not very loyal. You know, we saw there she's played and plussed, and that's still, she can still get lightning struck at that point. You know, it's only 3 loyalty.
Detention Sphere going to take care of that Rampager. Breeding Pool tapped before passing the turn back.
Yeah, Marcus's hand has another land, an Elspeth, and a Last Breath in it. He's really just trying to clear the way for Elspeth to carry him to victory with land 7, and hopefully by the time he maybe land 8, he's going to try to play and protect Elspeth.
It's funny, with how Tom's deck normally works, it's hyper aggressive, but it didn't get off to a very good start this game. And Glenn didn't have really the best draw against a hyper aggressive draw. But with how everything is lined up this game, his draw's been great.
Yeah, so Fnatic, Xenagos is played, the Tribute is paid. Last Breath takes out Legion Loyalist. Reason there is because I think he has intentions of making Elspeth tokens. Now, Fnatic has Trample, so that will only work so well, but...
It's a little strange because you would be surprised to see him shoot that down, but at the same time...
Yeah, and not Mutavault.
Yeah, not Mutavault. But, the fact that Legion Loyalist actually has relevant text and it won't let tokens block, that's the big part. Here's another Detention Sphere to take care of the Fnatic. So Ross just has a Mutavault right now, and I believe some lands. Pretty boring.
Like I was playing this, Marcus continues to clear the way for Elspeth.
I like that too. And there's a mountain just past the turn back after the lead of all attack. So Ross is essentially out of gas right now, which Glenn has to probably know. So now you can just drop
Now
down
the board
old Elspeth.
is finally cleared for the champion of the sun
Yeah.
to start making tokens.
3 1/1s coming for the youngster. Tom Ross, not in a good spot here at all.
All right, 3 tokens there, passes back. Yeah, he has madcap skills in his hand, but no creature to put it on as of yet.
I can't imagine Tom's deck being able to overcome an Elspeth in this position. Your opponent's at 14.
You usually have to kill the... I think his deck needs to untap and kill the Elspeth immediately, and then it's fine. But I think once Elspeth gets a second activation off, things are real bad.
Mutavault's going to go active.
It's going to trade with 2 tokens regardless of whether he madcaps it or not, so I don't expect he will.
Yeah, he's going to attack over here. See how there's going to be a block. I think right now what Tom's doing is he's picking up information. You know,
Yeah.
For example, in this situation, would you just chump block it with 1 token? Maybe I can get you with the Gorkland Rampager in a future game. Or would you double block it? Things like that. I think
Or
is
would you
all he's
triple
doing.
block it?
Yeah. I think he's just trying to pick up some information here because I think chances are very low he's going to win this game. And so right now, one thing I do know about Tom is he rarely scoops it up. He'll make his opponent kill him. And this is also an opportunity for him to just get some information as well. So there's Skylasher going to block the Soldier token. You see Glenn's hand. He has a Jace.
He just has the Supreme Verdict.
Yeah, and a Verdict. So he's going to actually 1-for-1 with the Verdict and then tick up the Elspeth.
Yeah, this is firmly under control for Marcus.
Ross took a draw. It's a mountain. Just going to play the mountain and pass the turn back. And the other reason I think Tom's not conceding here, too, is just, you know, you can pick up some information about what's in your opponent's deck. Like, not every Bant Walker's deck is the same.
Right. I mean, are you playing Caryatids, for example? That's a pretty relevant question. Certainly, if Marcus were to cast something like Elixir, that would give him more information.
Yeah. And to be fair, I don't think it's going to take Marcus Glenn very long to close out this game because of Elspeth and the ultimate. But at the same time, you know, for example, Jace will come down here.
Yeah. Now
Maybe
he
it
knows he's
minuses-
playing Jace.
Yeah.
I would even plus the Jace just so he can't see more cards.
Here are some new cards. Another Verdict.
Another
Tom knew
Verdict.
about that. Tom knew about the Jace. And now you can see
He
Dissolve.
plays Dissolve.
Yeah.
The control deck is playing Dissolve.
Shockaroo.
I mean, yeah.
I'm gonna take the Dissolve, which is a really good choice. That'll probably
Sure.
lock this game out if it wasn't already. Yeah, this is kind of the stage of Magic that I actually kind of like this, like where you're definitely beat, but you can actually pick up some info. I always like when this happens. Elspeth's gonna take up 3 more Soldier tokens are gonna come in. Working our way towards the ultimate. Here is Marcus Glenn. Gonna be able to pass the turn back to Dissolve up as well. How do you like Bant Walkers? Just as a deck in general.
I generally like it less than regular controlled. Like I said, Kiora I think kind of belies the nature of a control deck. It is another Planeswalker that you can play, so I do like the interaction between Supreme Verdict and Kiora. That's pretty neat. How you can, it's another card that forces them to overcommit. Kiora's trying to become Jace numbers like 5, 6, and 7, which is an interesting take on the deck. I think at the end of the day, I'd rather have more removal, but I can certainly respect this approach.
And Jace is going to take up here. In come these Soldier tokens now. Not going to go ultimate just yet. I think you know with this particular build of the deck, you see Elspeth's going to move up 3 more Soldier tokens here. You know, you're putting a lot of pressure on getting a turn 4. I think that's the scary thing. You're putting a lot of pressure on getting a turn 4 with an untapped land as your 4th mana.
Mm-hmm.
That's a little bit scary. Like if this deck had a card like I don't know, Mind Stone or Everflowing Chalice, for just lack of a better one. Like, you know.
Yes, if you could ramp into 4, which I mean, that you've seen these decks that they play Sylvan Caryatid just for that purpose. They play Sylvan Caryatid in a Supreme Verdict shell.
Yeah.
Which is not good, but the turn 3 Planeswalker is that good.
Yeah. I think if you had a ramp spell that didn't get killed by your own Wrath, you know, Farseek is the obvious one. You know, if you had that, I'd be a lot happier with this kind of strategy. As there's the emblem, and Ross is going to concede the game, so Marcus Glenn does win this one.
We've seen that in the past with Andrew Cuneo and other players playing that Bant ramp, that Bant control deck last season.
Yeah.
Reed Duke also piloting it for a while, which was basically Revelation plus Farseek.
Yeah, Revelation plus Farseek and killing them with the Valiant Round Yard.
Yeah.
Just the worst way to just kill somebody, but it did get the job done, as it didn't actually make them commit any win conditions in their deck. They did kill people with Thragtusk on occasion, but that wasn't really the primary plan here, as Marcus Glenn is going to head over to the sideboard, up a game against number 24 on the Star City Games Open Series leaderboard, Tom Ross. We'll take a look at the sideboards. I know you're not the aggro player in this conversation, but we're going to put you in charge of Tom's deck.
All right,
list.
I know what I don't want to see. So let's start with 3 Domri Rods that are in Thomas's sideboard.
Okay.
Domri Rod, great against pretty much any control deck. I can't imagine it'll be any different here. I would see him boarding that in. He does have 2 Skull Cracks if he's worried about a card like Sphinx's Revelation. On top of that, he does play a Burning Earth in the sideboard. I'd have to assume he's using that. And last card I like here is 1 Ranger's Guile, which will help protect him from the pinpoint removal that Bant could play.
On the other side here, 2 copies of Celestia Charm, 2 Skylashers, 2 Celestial Flares, 2 Negates, a Revoke Existence, 2 Archangel Thunes, 2 Bramaz King of Rescos, and 2 copies of Mistcutter Hydra. I think you like both creatures, an Archangel and Bramaz?
Certainly like Bramaz. I probably like Archangel. I'm a little skeptical of that because Thomas has so many tricks that are good when your opponent is blocking.
Okay.
You know, I don't think if Glenn taps out for an Archangel and then Ross swings into it, you know, I'm not feeling good as the control player. I'm like, oh, he's got a trick for me.
Sure.
So I'd rather be killing his creatures than blocking them.
Any chance of negates? Like we assume that Domri is going to come in. There are some other targets. They're pretty fringy, though.
Yeah, I'd rather have some. I don't know about negate. I wouldn't want to be caught with a dead spell. That said, it does cost 2, which is pretty important in the matchup. I really like cards like Celestial Flare in the matchup. Oftentimes, Ross does not have more than 1 attacking creature.
Yeah, Celestial Flare is a situation where, you know, you don't get to really be picky with it. It's just going to kill something.
But it could hit a Madcap skills. Granted, those will probably be boarded out, but yeah, it'll kill a creature, and that's probably good enough.
And you can make the same argument, I think, for Skylasher and Selesnya Charm making a 2/2 token as well. So, also, Selesnya Charm could blow out a Gorklan Rampager that goes blood rushes on something.
Absolutely.
So there are definitely some options here. A lot of 2-ofs and then just the single Revoke Resistance here in Marcus Glenn's deck. He is sitting again at 5-0 with the Bantwalker's deck, playing against Tom Ross, also 5-0 with his red-green aggro deck that he top 8 the Invitational with.
Celestia Charm is particularly good against Madcap skills. Most creatures, once you Madcap them, become in a target for Celestia Charm.
I would hope so.
Unless you're doing a 1/1, which
Yeah.
he doesn't. If you're doing it to Legion Loyalist,
That's the
then
only
you can
one?
get around it, yeah.
Wow,
Yep.
okay. Maybe that's Tom Ross's game plan.
Sure does play around Celestia Charm.
Yeah, think about that. So this made me think of another question now.
All
So
right.
I have been on this Revelation kick when I do play in opens. The last 2 opens I've played I've Revelation decks.
Yeah.
I've been mocked by you and others, but that's fine. I don't mind. When was the last time you played an aggro deck? Have you ever played an aggro deck in a tournament?
I played red-green at a few Pro Tours.
Really?
Yes, I played red-green monsters at Pro Tour Theros.
Okay. Okay. How'd we do?
6 and 4 in constructed with it.
Okay, that's not bad.
Sure.
That's fine. I can't think of a time where I've ever seen you play an aggressive deck.
I mean, it's like Birds of Paradise style decks. Like, is Monsters an aggressive deck? That's a good question.
I mean, I would consider it an attacking deck.
Sure. Yeah, it wins through the combat stuff.
Yeah, I would consider it. You're dedicating like your life to casting creatures and killing them with creatures. That's your plan.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, it's a
where
creature
normally you're escape shifting people or high tiding people.
Well,
and that's the last
you
thing you
can't
want
play
to do.
combat and can't play combo in those formats.
We're gonna have to find you a combo deck. Standard has been devoid of combo for some time now.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
think
almost
they want
like it's
combo.
almost like that's intentional.
Yeah, I know. It kind of stinks, actually. I don't think Standard having a combo deck's a bad thing. I'm probably wrong, but
I mean, we had one. The last really good one I think we had Pyromancer Ascension, not like a few years ago. It was a combo deck in Standard.
yeah, was that the same time as Twin being a thing, or after? Was it before or after Twin was a Twin was a thing?
No,
for a
straight
little
Twin
while.
was after. It was
Okay.
after Pyromancer. So
Okay.
yeah, straight Twin.
I guess it's not a creature deck. Who are we kidding? You just
No.
you happen to kill them with creatures.
It's like 100 or 1,000,000 of them.
Yes. We need a combo deck. Just for you. I'm here for you.
I'm-
Though, you do
It
like
doesn't
casting
even-
Revelation.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a great combo deck. Just, you know.
Well, if you want to play a bad combo deck, we can find plenty
No,
of
there's
those.
some really bad ones.
I was
you
gonna say,
can
there's
play.
plenty of Burn and Stake
There's
decks.
like Archangel of Thune, Horizon Chimera, Fathom Mage. That's an infinite combo that's terrible. It only requires that you resolve a 4-mana, 4-mana, and 5-mana creature, and then none of them die. You know, it's totally reasonable.
I like it.
At that point, you probably should win the game if you resolve any 4, 4, and 5 drop.
Well, potentially, yes.
Yeah, so
I would at least hope so.
Therein lies the problem of the deck.
Problem is subjective. Maybe it's a problem. Maybe it's not. Depends on who you're playing against. I didn't even know it was a combo.
It is, yeah.
I know a lot of people are talking about Fathom Mage with a Johnny.
Okay.
New Johnny, the +1 ability, put counters on it.
Sure. You just like draw an extra card.
3. Whenever it gets a +1/+1 counter, you draw a card.
Yeah, you can't put all 3 on one guy, can you?
I'm pretty sure you can.
I thought it's on up to 1, 2, or 3 creatures.
Well, yeah, you
can. You can put them all in one guy?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay, never mind. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. That's way different.
That was a pretty easy sell.
Yeah.
That was a pretty easy sell. Jeez.
No, we should. You should play it with that. Oh, we're 1 mana short of taking infinite turns with the Time Walk guy. Because you target him, and then he gets 3 counters. He gets 4. It's not 5, though.
Okay, yeah, sure.
If that was 5, that would be a combo, by the way.
We're underway here in game number 2. You see a Hallowed Fountain coming to play tap. Ross is off to another really slow start. Now, there is a Domri in his hand, so that's presumably his game plan here, as Marcus Glenn is going to play an island and just pass the turn back here. Ross has a Skylasher, which cannot be countered, of course. So he's going to untap. He's going to take a draw. And it looks like we're going to be working our way into what looks like a Domri game here, assuming he has a 3rd land. Yeah, it's a mountain, so he does have a 3rd land.
All right. Yeah, with that Skylasher out of the board, we do see Titan's Strength in his hand, along with a pair of Domries. So at least the first one, I think, can just be outright cast.
Will it resolve? It will. Elevator's going up. Does he find a creature? He does. It's a Burning Tree Emissary. So that'll go to the grip and pass the turn back over to Glenn. He'll take a draw, and it's a Temple of Enlightenment. It also has a Mutavault.
See, now you've already gotten me to the point where now I'm trying to think of deck lists. This is the worst. I'm like, oh, can I take infinite turns? Oh, man.
That's my job, Matthias. That's my job.
All right, well, back to our game. The Tension Sphere was placed on Domri.
This is a Temple. Take a look. Put that on top. There's a Burning Tree. This is a Fanatic, most likely. That's actually going to be another Domri. Very nice.
He had 2 of them.
And now he gets a Legion Loyalist that he knew about. And in for 2 we go. So this is actually going to... Now, this is the thing I like about Tom's sideboard plan, is because it puts pressure from 2 different angles. He's got a little bit of a board presence attacking with these 2/2 creatures. So it's going to make it so that Glenn needs to have, like a card like Kiora or Supreme Verdict.
Yeah, and Glenn continues to have the answers for the Domries, and once he clears them off the board, all it will take is something like a Supreme Verdict to start to stabilize the board for him.
And that card stayed on top very quickly there for Marcus Glenn, so that's got to be a little bit scary for Ross.
Yeah. See, he has boarded in an Archangel of Thune. It's in his hand. He can be able to tap out for that next turn. And this is one of those situations I was saying about before, though. I'm not sure I'd want to block with Archangel. You see, even if Glenn taps out for it, Ross will have plays like Titan Strength, like Gore Clan Rampager. The Archangel, yes, it will be inconvenient, but won't be a game winner.
Tom and Upkeep's going to cast a Titan Strength. He might be looking for a card like Armed Dangerous to actually get the job done right away.
He could
or at least do a lot of damage.
Yeah, he may just want not another land. He still draws one.
Yep. So right now that Skylash is a 5-power creature in combination with the Emissary. That could be 7 damage. You do a little Blood Rush action.
Yeah, 8. He has up to 12 damage here.
And then he gets brick walled so bad by Archangel then.
Interestingly enough, if he plays... No, he doesn't have enough mana. Yeah. I was going to say, if he had infinite mana, he could try to kill this turn. He also has Fanatic of Xenagos in his hand, so we'll see how much he wants to commit.
The thing that was scary there is that Glenn doesn't have Supreme Verdict in his hand right now.
But he snap topped that card.
Yeah, he kept his card on top so fast with the Scry. And we don't know if that's a 5th land for Archangel or if that's a Verdict. We have no idea.
I mean, and Ross doesn't even know what Glenn's working with here. Certainly, Glenn could have anything. His plays each turn of the game have been tap out for Detention Sphere, which you'd assume even if Glenn had every card imaginable, that probably would have been the play he would have made. So, Glenn could have Supreme Verdict and could have had Supreme Verdict since turn 1, and this is probably how he would have played it out.
Yep.
So it's a large liability that Glenn has a Supreme Verdict.
You see Ross is kind of going through things, going, okay, I'm going to play Fanatic now. Glenn is going to take a look at his hand and consult that.
You can get a read on your opponent. How fast does he say put a counter on it? If he says it really fast, then you're screwed. Then the Supreme Verdict's coming.
What's the draw? The question is, what's the card? I saw 7 damage was dealt there.
And it was the 5th land.
Okay. So now there's the Archangel.
And this is something which I was actually thinking was a liability about boarding in Archangel. You see right now, Glenn's curve clogged. You see his hand with Jace, Kiora, Celestial Flare. But like Jace, Kiora, Archangel, like you're not going to get to cast all those before the game's even over.
Now, the Legion of Loyalists is actually hanging out here. Now, that thing's got a lot of text with Battalion, which it does have right now. So Archangel's going to try to get its block on the Skylasher here. And so Tom says, okay, this stuff is going to come through. I'm going to Gore Clan Rampager this. My creatures all have First Strike and Trample. So I'm going to deal the necessary amount of damage to actually get past that thing. This is 6/6. 6 minus 4 is 2. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Yep, that's
Exactsies.
lethal.
Yeah.
And even without the, yeah, it's just lethal.
And you mentioned this right at the top, actually. You said that you'd be a little bit scared of boarding in creatures because that's exactly what can happen.
Honestly, you can tap up for Archangel, and I don't think I feel safe yet.
Yeah, especially when your opponent just says, all right, everybody into the red zone.
Well, your opponent, he has Gorklan Rampager, he has Titan Strength, he has Armed Dangerous. There's just so many ways that block's not going to be good enough.
Madcap skills, too.
Yeah, Madcap skills. Fanatic of Xenagos, just by itself, is actually bigger than Archangel.
Yeah, that's actually kind of crazy to even think about.
Yeah,
but it is.
so there's I don't know. I don't actually think that Archangel's the card you want here.
It's funny, too, because I'm actually with you, where if Glenn had Supreme Verdict, like, in that game, like, I think he would have played his third and fourth turns the way that he did anyway, which is I have to get your Domri off of the board
Right.
and then move forward, because Domri is so good against my deck.
I can take damage off these creatures for now just to keep the Domries off to control your card draw. Then I'll Verdict you, then I'll drop a Planeswalker.
Let's also not forget, too, that game is wildly different if Glenn is on the play as opposed to the draw. Because the entire time he was just on the back foot there. Yes, Ross didn't get off to the best start, but he did get the ball rolling with a Skylasher into Dombri's and actually changed the way that the game was going to be played there.
What it let him do was that his turn two creatures were able to hit every turn for incremental damage, and there would have been none of that damage were it reversed.
Yeah, I think that's a really,
Marcus
really big
would have
deal.
about 6 to 8 more life points.
So players are going to shuffle up here for game number 3. Marcus Glenn does show that he has Archangels coming in, so maybe Thomas Ross is going to sideboard a little bit differently. I wouldn't be surprised, though, in this particular game if Ross is maybe taken by surprise by Bramaz, because he did not see that in that game, and that
Right.
really changes how he has to play. That card's great against his deck.
Yeah, Bramaz actually a better blocker than Archangel despite being 2 mana cheaper. Did
Did you ever try Bramaz in any of, like, I know you like to play Rev decks. Did you ever try that in the sideboard of those decks when it first came out? Because that card's not really seeing a ton of play right now.
It's fine in the sideboard of Rev decks. I actually have liked playing Night Veils in the sideboard. I think right now, because the average creature size out of aggro is a 2/2, you'd probably just rather play Night Veils than Bramaz. You're just looking for something to wall the aggro decks. You're not really looking for something that can win. It doesn't need to. So I think Night Veil's just a better Bramaz out of the control decks right now.
It doesn't hurt that Night Veil's insane against the control decks, too.
Right. It's insane against control decks. It's great against mono black. Yeah, there's a lot of matchups where the card can really work for you.
Yeah, that seems to be the strategy that a lot of people have been going towards, honestly, of just bringing Night Veil in.
Interesting. It's kind of a full circle thing. That was standard at Pro Tour Dragon's Maze, which is our block constructed format. 4 Night Veils out of the board was pretty standard, and then we rotated into the next season, and Night Veil really fell out of favor, and we get all the way to Theros, and now finally they're working their way back into the sideboard.
I just like the horror stories that people got to tell at Pro Tour Dragon's Maze of, hitting someone who was playing Maze's End with Night Veil Spectre and hitting their one guild gate and then just having to concede on turn 4.
That happened to me.
Yeah, they're just like, all right, you win. You hit my Gruul guild gate. Nice job. That was one of my favorite things that happened at that tournament. Night Veil's been really, really good. And like no noise was made about that card when it was released.
No,
as it
was
just being
it
like
was
a really
bulk
good
rare
card.
for like 6 months.
Yeah, just not even a single word about Night Veil Spectre.
I mean, granted, devotion strategies certainly have helped the card along a bit.
Yeah, that's
But
definitely true.
only so much. It's actually just pretty good by itself.
Well, it's kind of funny, right? Because all the Spectres over the course of Magic, we've seen a lot of them. Hypnotic, Doomsday, Dimir, Cut Purse. We've seen a lot of that effect, and this one's like, I don't even get to make you discard a card. I get a card off the top of your deck. Why is this even good? And it's super hard to cast,
Right.
but way better than I think anyone actually thought.
That is an interesting way to put it. Yeah, it's that third point of toughness that I think really helps it out.
I think that's a big deal. I do. It's just really surprising to me that, like, this is like the Spectre, what you think of Spectres, and when they hit you, they discard. And this one is like, you don't discard, I draw a card in a really weird way, and it's just, it happens to be very, very good in that weird way that you get to actually draw a card instead of making him discard.
Yeah, so we are on to game 3 here. See, Thomas getting the first sideboard game.
That means he's going to be on the draw this go around,
Yeah.
so.
Celestia Charm in the opener for Glenn.
He reached for those during sideboarding between this game. Don't think he had that for game number 2. Don't
Yeah.
think he's looking at a hand he loves right now either.
It's a lot of lands, but, right? It's enough, a lot of lands, but a lot of them are temples, so we can keep, right?
Ross going to take a mulligan
That was
here.
the Cedric Phillips school of thought earlier. Said, all
yeah.
lands, all temples, keep.
That's like, that card could be anything. So it's like a temple it's a card that taps for mana and lets me find a sweet card.
Yeah. What more could you want? It's every card in your deck.
This might be why I don't win with the Rev decks that much. Maybe I have the wrong thought process.
I mean, lands are sweet. Don't get me
Temples,
wrong.
keep.
Temples are good too.
I could draw anything, and if my top card sucks, I don't have to draw it.
Yeah.
Plus, I'm on the play. It's like a free roll.
It doesn't help you draw good cards. It just helps you not draw bad cards.
Well, that's true.
It's a little different. If there's like a card you need in the matchup, it's not good. If all you need to do is not brick in the matchup, then they're very good.
Ross is going to keep. He's on 6. We're underway. Temple of Mystery to begin here for Marcus Glenn. That card, after he does consult the grip, is going to the bottom.
Yeah, I actually really like Glenn's hand. It does have 2 temples, and the cards in it are Celestia Charm and Last Breath, both of which I think are pretty good against what Ross is trying to do.
Buy him some time. Has a Temple Garden, too. It's actually pretty good.
The cards he has to be worried about, something like Fanatic of Xenagos is very good against him.
He doesn't have any of his sweet blue cards, like, Verdict or Jace. But he has some early interaction. You see Tom deep in the tank here on turn 1, just going to play a Mutavault and pass the turn back.
Well, he has cards like Ash Zealot in his hand, so he has to decide whether or not he's going to try and cast Ash Zealot. It doesn't look like he has the other red source.
Oh no, I think he's gonna get absolutely destroyed. Yeah, Last Breath is gonna take care of the Mutavault now too. Wow.
I mean, if you're Ross, you have to, you knew that risk when you were attacking.
Yeah. Detention Sphere, the draw here for Glenn. He's gonna get to play a Temple of Plenty, take a look at the top card, leave it on top, pass the turn back.
That to me says it's a Planeswalker of some sort.
See if Ross has another lane. He does have another Mutavault. He can play Legion Loyalist and get in here, but he could get destroyed by Celestia Charm now. Jeez. Jeez.
Oh, just all the beats.
So the 2/2 token is going to take down Legion Loyalist, which was instrumental in winning Ross the last game. My goodness. Supreme Verdict, the draw in for 2 comes Reduke.
Now, I'm actually going to go ahead and say I don't like that Glenn kept the Supreme Verdict on top based on what his hand is. Even though it's a good card in the matchup, what he wants is a Planeswalker. At this point, I'm shipping anything that's not a Planeswalker.
Fair enough. I mean,
Sphinx's Revelation also counts.
Yeah, sure. Kiora, Jace, both of those cards are fantastic right now.
I mean, at the pace this game's going, Elspeth's fantastic right now. You're going to hit Elspeth before Ross actually has a real board.
Ross just picked up a Skylasher that he can't cast.
Yeah, things have gone south for him. Bunch of red mana symbols, just bunches of them.
Yeah. And this is part of the cost of actually having Mutavault in your deck as good as that card is. Here's an attack for 2.
Yeah. Ross needs another land. Glenn hasn't found a way to win yet. Like I said, he needs to find a Planeswalker.
How dare you talk about Reduke like that? Not a way to win. Are you kidding me?
Oh, yeah, that's true.
This thing is fast and furious.
All right, now we are game on. Here comes Ash Zealot.
Now it's time for a little bit of magic. Here comes Ashy. Attack for 2. Glenn's going to go down to 18. Both players are at their starting life totals, which I find to be rather humorous.
Ross can win if Glenn just bricks a whole bunch.
He's already used a lot of Scrylands. Here's an attack for 2.
There's always more Scrylands.
True.
He's only through a third of them.
Both players at 18 here. Again, you see the hand there for Marcus Glenn. Going to play a Temple Garden tapped, has a copy of Celestial Flare, has the Detention Sphere, has the Supreme Verdict, and a land. So not the best hand, but it can change very quickly if he finds a Planeswalker.
There are basically 13 cards that Glenn's looking for. It's the 4 Revs and the 9 Planeswalkers. Any of them are great draws. Given that this deck's probably somewhere around 45 cards, like 1/3, he's about 1 in 3 to draw one of these cards each turn.
Ross is finally going to start moving in a little bit here with creatures. Gonna play Fanatic of Xenagos. The Tribute, I don't think so, says Marcus Glenn.
The danger here, and Ross knows it, is that he's probably going to get Supreme Verdicted. Glenn didn't keep all lands. He scried some of those cards to the top. So if they're not Planeswalkers, they're probably removal spells. Glenn probably has 3 removal spells, and it's not ridiculous to think that at least one of them is called Supreme Verdict.
Yep. And there it is. So that'll clean up everything. Glenn looks like he drew a copy of Temple of Enlightenment, so now a little scry. Where's this card going to go? That was a hesitant stay on top.
It better be a Planeswalker or a Rev. I don't know. If it's a removal spell, I don't keep it.
13 cards drawing to, as you mentioned, 4 Revs, 9 Planeswalkers.
Yeah, Glenn down to just 2 kill spells. He has Celestial Flare and Detention Sphere left.
There's Nash Zealot. That's dead. Flare will take care of that.
Like you said, Flare just kind of goes at the first target it can.
I want to see what he kept on top.
It's going to be Better not be a kill spell. Better be a plane. Oh, it's a kill
D-sphere.
Should only just keep the planeswalkers.
Still got plenty of time to find something.
Right. The only way you lose this game is if you never hit business.
Yep.
So
Mutavault dodging those D-spheres. Does Ross have a follow-up play? He's just going to pass the turn back. Marcus Glenn, take a draw. What'd you find?
some land. Or no, yes. Let's
Yeah,
take a
Hollow
blue-white
Fountain.
land. It's Hallowed Fountain. No need to play that one yet.
Ross, Legion Loyalist. Fire up Mutavault. In we go. Glenn going to go down to 11. Pass the turn back.
And I wonder if we're at the point where we're de-sphearing Legion Loyalist.
I think I saw a
Yeah.
shrug of the shoulders. We're definitely there. Celestial Flare is going to cover that Mutavault too. Oh no, Madcap skills.
You could activate Mutavault and Madcap it.
I
That's
think-
a play everyone really
I mean, I
likes.
actually think he's interested in doing that. That's the bad thing. Yep, fire that up. Come in for 2. There's the flare.
I mean, he has Skullcrack in his hand. It's Skullcrack, Skylasher, Goreclan, Rampager, Madcap skills. The fact he doesn't have a green source is hindering Ross.
Take a draw. Temple of Mystery. Where's this
All
card
right,
go?
better on the bottom.
Yep,
Okay,
that went down really fast.
just find one of those. It is some bad beats right now that Glenn has not found one of those cards. It's bad beats for Ross that he has not found a green mana. So
Yeah, who's
another
another
mountain?
mountain? Who's gonna find what they're looking for first?
Burmaz, that's pretty good.
That's pretty good, yeah.
I don't know if there's still outs here for Ross.
Oh, I mean for sure.
It's not one of the 13 I mentioned. It's good. It's like a good consolation prize. I would probably keep Burmaz on top if I scried.
There's a green land. It's a temple though.
Right on time.
Yep. Looks like Ross kept that on top pretty fast.
I mean, the scary thing about Burmaz is that he's vigilant.
Yeah, I mean the closing speed on this card is very fast.
Well, it's like more like Tom can't counter race it.
Sure.
Burmaz does a good job of playing around Madcap skills as well.
I guess there are more outs than the 9 Planeswalkers and the 4 Revs because there's also presumably 2 Archangels and 2 Burmazes after sideboard.
Yeah.
There are some number of those cards, and I think those cards are definitely good.
Yeah, they're good enough to keep. Okay, so we're at 17. Then this is ridiculous that Glenn hasn't hit one yet.
Yeah. In comes Burmaz. There is
Brings
your cat
his
soldier.
cat buddy.
So an attacker for 4. Ross is going to go down to 14. You saw Glenn did pick up a Scry land for the turn. So there's a Temple of Plenty.
And
That
he
card's
kept it on
All
top.
right, that's got to be that sinking feeling.
Well, it could be a dissolve. At this point, he might keep a dissolve.
Another Temple. Ross considering if he wants to keep that on top. He needs to figure out how he can beat this thing. I think
He gets
that's the
one
biggest problem.
creature. He armed danger. He just like all ins on one creature.
I'm definitely capable of that. Going to pass the turn back.
I mean, the problem is it's the second creature that's going to... Yeah, it looks like he's going to go ahead and end step a Skylasher here. And what is the card that Marcus kept on top?
I think Azorius Charm here, Skylasher.
Azorius Charm. That's not good enough. All right, Ross is down to 10.
I think Azorius Charm.
Okay. If it's Sphinx's Revelation, that's better. Yeah, it's Azorius Charm.
Huh. Let's see what
It's like-
Ross draws.
3 non-finisher cards he kept on top.
It's another copy of Skylasher.
I mean, he can just, with impunity here, swing and he can Madcap, swing, and Goreclan, and I think you just do it. Like, this guy is pro-blue. That's about, it's pro-Detention Sphere. It's pro... I don't know what kill spell you're playing around. If it's Celestial Flare, you probably can't win.
Yeah, and like given the situation, and he's already seen 2 flares. Like how many flares do you think your opponent has after sideboard, right?
2 standard. I think we'll see. I want to see if he just Madcaps. Okay, he's not going to Madcap it, but he is going to go ahead and Goreclan it.
Yeah, if the situation is presented.
I mean, if I'm Glenn, I just block it with the token, not the Burmaz.
Do you block it all?
Block with the token. Sure. I don't want him to, like, pitch 2 Goreclans and Titan Strength it.
Yeah. Because the question is like, what have you been holding this
I guess
entire
that would kill
time?
him. That would kill him. That would kill it anyway. It would kill him
2.
anyway. Yeah, it's still enough.
That's 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
Yeah.
I mean, blocks with Ramaz, he's still alive. 13 minus 4 is 9.
Right, and this is the thing, like, we should be scrying everything to the bottom to just find, like, the cards that close the game here for you close the game so hard.
Yeah.
Like, Kiora doesn't do it anymore, to be fair. Because Scotch is pro blue.
Yep.
So now we're down to Jace.
Ooh, no blocks.
It's really just Revelation.
There's Azorius Charm, time to cycle.
Yeah, you want to do that on your own turn. think.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. You do want to do that on your own turn just because the card that you find you can probably cast, or at least there's a chance of that. There's a Verdict. I wonder if he's going to cast that. He's going to attack for 5.
You can't act. It seems so hard to actually cast Verdict there. Like, you want. And this is like, Bramaz is good enough to board in, but yeah, he's not a. This is like why Bramaz is not a finisher. Is because he's kind of incentivized to Verdict on this board, which is. That's gross.
Just going to play Hollow Fountain tapped and pass the turn back. So Ross at 6 life. Glenn at 9. He draws. It's a Madcap Skills.
So this is actually lethal here.
Yeah.
Ross has this.
I can't believe he's going to win this game. So, so in we go. He has to double block the Madcap Skills creature.
Yeah, and then Gore Clan plus Skullcrack kills exactly.
Now that's assuming that Ross just fires all of this stuff off.
Right.
You know. So he's
I gotta think now that he let the 5 damage guy through that Ross will just test the waters.
Rampager it, yeah.
Just Rampager it. I mean, what's he playing on? It's Celestial Flare? Like, that's fine. You have another attacker.
It's like he's playing around like Flare. He's playing around like
Faded Retribution.
Celestia Charm. There are definitely things worth playing around. I don't. The thing here is that I think if you're Tom Ross, you just have to say, okay, first of all, you have to think, okay, why didn't you block the Madcap Skills creature when you could have? Second of all, can I beat any removal spell anyway? Can I beat any of those cards that I just mentioned? Because this block looks really weird, but at the same time, this block is so weird. Yeah, this block is weird. He doesn't move in because the block is so weird.
Yeah.
It's like the block doesn't make any sense. Why would you block like that? And he's just going to Hardcast Rampager and pass the turn back.
Man, that Ross may have let a win. He let a win go. Oh, gosh. Now it's just done. It's done. Wait, no. There's Skullcrack.
He has Skullcrack. He has Skullcrack.
Okay.
All right, so he's going to block here, but he's going to cast Verdict now.
Yeah.
And so now he's going to clear everything up.
Oh, man. Ross is going to feel terrible.
That block was beautiful. And he's passes the turn back now.
Oh, it's so over.
Unless Rush draws a
It's going to rev for 6.
There's a Burning Tree Emissary.
Oh, Glenn doesn't even do it. Oh,
rev.
Gross. How greedy is that?
All right, so now there's a Last Breath.
He didn't even do it.
He's gonna cast a Revel at 1, 3, 4, 5. Punch.
If he does it for If he does it for he just needs to do it for 2 fewer and he has it.
Oh no! Tom Ross, no!
Pulls it out. Oh my gosh.
That game was insane. I can't believe he just won that game. Defeats Marcus Glenn 2-1 with the Skullcrack he's been holding since the beginning of the game. Oh no! He played so good. Oh, Marcus, you played so good. That block was beautiful with Permez.
You got Tom. Your opponent had a win on board. You got him to not win the game.
You got him to not kill him.
Yeah.
Oh, man. And then for the end like that to the Skullcrack, especially when he had the Last Breath for the Burning Tree Emissary.
Yeah, he had the... Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, gosh.
That is wow. Whew. That's a killer.
All right.
That is a killer. Tom Ross, 6-0, defeating Marcus Glenn in a crazy game. Oh, my goodness. What a match.
That was excellent.
You couldn't tell me Tom was going to win that game. Beautiful. Dies on turn 2. He doesn't fight his lands forever. Are you kidding?
Marcus had a lot of time to draw sign, but he couldn't. You know, he was working to try to find some way to close out the game.
I know. Wow. Man, what a game. Congrats to Tom Ross. Heck of a game between these two players. 6-0 with with red-green aggro. 24th on our leaderboard, maybe moving on up after this weekend. Abel, I can't believe that he didn't go. Okay, I can believe that Tom didn't go for the kill because the block was so good with the Berbaz.
Well, I think he's supposed to go for it, but it's too confusing. Like, why is he blocking this way? What's going on? Why is he